It's here, ladies and gentlemen. The Final Four for the NC State women starts tonight. The Final Four for the NC State men start tomorrow. All week we've been building up to this, and this being our final episode of The Drive, our final show before those games kick off. And don't try to sell me on it's just any other game. Doesn't it feel like we've been talking about the importance of this game for months now?
Forever.
Imagine how it feels for the players. Imagine everything they've gone through, the Applebee's trips, the practices, the travel, the media opportunities, the walkthroughs. It's not any other game. It's not. It can't be. Pretending it is just ignoring the elephant in the room. As much as the teams try to say there is. By the way, we're going to open up the phone lines here.
Let's go.
Heister Automotive Group Hotline. This is your last chance to get some words in, to get a message in. What's your take? What's your NC State needs to do this to win? They will win because of this. They're going to lose because of that. I don't know. It's open phone lines. 919-860-5326. You'll be hearing from me and Graham throughout the show. We want to hear from you. It's your last chance to get a word in. 919-860-5326, Heister Automotive Group Hotline. It's not just any other game. Despite what Purdue is telling you, here's Fletcher Lawyer, one of their shooters from the outside, talking about how Purdue is treating this Final Four matchup.
It's win or go home, so you got to treat it like a basketball game. It's not a show, it's a game. And I think us being locked in, getting our feel for the court, but ultimately knowing it's still 10-foot rim, same amount of length out there.
Yeah.
Coach's talk.
It is, that's the Hoosiers thing, right? 10-foot rims, it's all the same. I get it. I hear you. It's not any other game. Your heart rate, it's going to be higher at tip-off. The amount of eyeballs, it's being played in a football stadium. The amount of eyeballs on television, it's not any other game. Matter of fact, we have about 40 games, almost 40 games from each team to decide who the good players are and what they need to be successful. I think we have a pretty good idea of what these teams are. But the part we have no research on is how any of these teams, meaning Purdue and NC State, play under the bright lights of Final Four pressure. We know how some of the UConn guys play because we've seen that, but Alabama, Purdue, and NC State, we don't know. And it's not all about, pressure bursts pipes. Sometimes pressure makes diamonds. Some people play better under all that pressure. It wakes up something inside them. I was just listening to an interview with, what's his name? Penn from Penn and Teller, right? The magicians, the guy that used to have the ponytail and his partner didn't talk. And he was talking about they were on Saturday Night Live in like the 80s. And they had a trick that they never pulled off before. If you go back and watch it, they were actually hanging upside down. It's a whole thing. But they'd never nailed it. They went through all the dress rehearsals, all the everything, never nailed the trick. Guess what? You put them on, I think it was 8 million people watching live on Saturday night. It was obviously live broadcast, Saturday Night Live. Drilled it. And his argument was when you turn all the lights on, they perform better. Some people are that way. Some people are Penn and Teller. We don't know. NC State, I believe, has to be more comfortable in it than Purdue because they've just been living under pressure for 9 games versus 4. I don't think anyone is choosing NC State's path. Like if you have options, I don't think anyone is saying like, you know what, I really wish we had 9 win-or-go-home games. But now that you've made it through all 9, maybe it's some kind of advantage. Maybe it's some kind of you're more comfortable than they are. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Maybe it's the opposite, and you're so exhausted from being under pressure, eventually you'll break down. That's to be determined. But there is that possibility. I mentioned the phone lines are open. Heister Automotive Group Hotline, 919-860-5326. Today's your last chance to get a thought in before the Final Four. We have Pat from Durham. He was on the line first, waiting patiently. Pat, thank you for calling in. What's your final word? What's your last comment before the Final Four gets underway?
Well, first comment is, man, my heart's getting ready to jump out of my chest, I feel like. But I was – Zeddy's so good in the middle, and he has all these moves. I don't know if I've heard this before, but how about if you pressure the ball and maybe they start, with 15 seconds left or 16 seconds left, he has less time to do what he does. And maybe that would be a way you only have to play defense maybe for 8 to 10 seconds. And also, is he a good passer out of a double team or something like that? Have you heard about that?
I'll answer both those questions. Appreciate the call, Pat. Call back in anytime. First of all, you're definitely going to see ball pressure. And the people you're going to see it from are Casey Morsell and most likely Michael O'Connell, and they are going to try to make that perimeter work for the exact reason you just said. Right? You want Zach Edey catching the ball with the fewest amount of seconds on the shot clock possible, but also, right, there's this talk about this college basketball season being a resurgence of the big, right? All the big men are driving again. There's also a resurgence of the post-entry pass. Like, if you watch the NBA, nobody knows how to throw the ball into the post. And that's obviously what everyone's watching growing up. So I would test them. I mean, obviously Purdue's going to be good at it because they've been throwing it into Zach Edey for the past 4 years. But yeah, there's definitely going to be ball pressure, and that can definitely help things. And the side note is, yeah, Edey can pass out of the double. And part of that is just being 7'4" and tall. The vision, it's going to be easier for him because he's looking over everybody. He can pass out of the double team. I wouldn't say he's as prodigious a passer or as polished a passer as somebody like DJ Burns, who just kind of has that instinct. But if you double team Zach Edey, he has shooters that can knock it down. Stephen Raleigh next up on the call-in line, which is open, by the way, for Final Four Talk, 919-860-5326. Steve from Raleigh, what's your final take, your last words before the Final Four gets underway?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Mm-hmm.
My first thing is congratulations to NC State. It's very exciting. I'm not from the area. I haven't seen them or known that much about their program since they've been kind of down for several years, but I think it's amazing for the men and the women. My second comment is a little bit more pointed, and that is, why is there not more coverage on this radio station or any radio station about the women's game? I listen every day to Adam Gold. I listen to you, and they get about 20 seconds of coverage every hour compared to
Okay, all right, hold on now. I'm not going to let you I assume that was an exaggeration because if you've been listening, you know that I've made a point to bring up the women every single day for significantly longer than 20 seconds per hour. Is he still there?
It hasn't been much.
It's been significantly more than 20 seconds per hour.
Well, that's hyperbole, exaggerating to make a point.
Well, okay, but when you're speaking on the radio, you have to make those things obvious because people out there are taking them seriously. What do you want to talk about with the women?
Well, I'm super excited because my son is actually a student at South Carolina, and their women's team is amazing. So I'm a little bit conflicted tonight in this game because I want State to win because I'm in Raleigh, and I'm impressed by them. But then again, I want the Gamecocks to win because amazing team and amazing result if they go undefeated. So I'm just hoping that game tonight's going to be awesome. I think the women have put on a great show this year, and I'm super excited to see what they do.
All right, appreciate the call. I'll add in my 2 cents about the women, which, by the way, we've been, like I said, making a point to cover. Not as much as the men. I'm not going to, pull the wool over your eyes, but there's definitely, especially this year, more conversation about women's basketball than we've ever seen in the past. They're making strides in all of those ways. Sanaya Rivers, let's talk about her. If you're going to talk about this game, you want to talk about being conflicted? She has a national championship ring on her finger from her time at South Carolina. Her freshman year, they won a national championship. She was a South Carolina Gamecock. Now she's in the Final Four trying to keep South Carolina from winning another with NC State. And my favorite part is in the media lead-up, Sanaya said if they win, and then she corrected herself and said when they win, she might have to break out both rings. She might be celebrating an NC State championship with a South Carolina Gamecocks ring on her finger that she won as a freshman. You want to talk about conflicted? There's some conflicted arguments or some conflicted internal thoughts going on there.